I do think this is going to be a low-scoring football game.
See, I disagree with you. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Georgia was kind of playing a little bit of pop-a-shot with the offensive line, trying to mix different combinations to see what was going to work. But it really seems like they have found a combination up front on the offensive line that has given them some continuity and is really starting to work. Another mega matchup this weekend in college football. Texas still in the playoff hunt, going to Athens to play Georgia. Obviously still in the playoff hunt as well with one loss. The stakes really can't get any bigger for both of these teams, but obviously Texas with another loss is going to probably be on the outside looking in for the college football playoff. And we have the best breakdown and preview of one of the biggest games all season right here on Crain & Company. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Almost to 200K at 192 right now. You could be the difference. But as usual, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback to my left, Blaine Crain, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver to my right. And before we even dive into this, because I've thought about this game literally for a day and a half trying to figure out like how it's going to go. And it's one of the hardest games, I think, to project we've had all year. But what is the line? What is the total? Give the people the betting odds and the money.
6:30 game. This game is at Georgia. The game opened at -6.5 Georgia, and it is still sitting -6.5 Georgia.
What's the over-under again?
But the money is laying Texas in the spread. Over-under opened at 49.5. It is sitting at 48.5, so it has gotten bet down. Texas money line going off at +180.
Can I throw a couple just peripheral
hit me now.
Punch me in the face. And look, like at the end of the day, does this really matter for this game? I'm not a huge believer in trends and patterns. I just find them interesting at some points. Georgia, I believe, has only lost in Athens since 2021 to Alabama. Like, nobody else has beaten them in Athens, which is crazy for a couple reasons. One, that's a lot of games since 2021. You'd think somebody else would have found a way to do it. Number two, it's like, damn, Bama just really seems to have their number at home or on the road in the regular season. But when you look at Georgia playing Texas, I don't know if this has ever happened in the regular season where Texas has gone to Georgia. But we do know the last two times they've played, which was last season, it seems like Georgia kind of has that wave a little bit over Texas, even though it's a smaller sample size. How do you feel? Like this game, to me, trying to break it down is just like, there's so many different things that can happen because the personnel is so good.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought up Alabama because there's so many similarities to the Alabama-Oklahoma game that we previewed yesterday. And this one, I mean, Texas going on the road to play Georgia, Texas with 2 losses. There's no margin for error here, especially as you're still in the college football playoff hunt and you've reeled off 4 wins in a row. Has it been pretty? Not necessarily. Had to go on the road and survive in overtime against Kentucky, survive in overtime against Mississippi State. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up the 2 games last year because think about this. We're getting a Texas-Georgia matchup for the 3rd time in a year. And obviously Georgia won both those games last year. I kind of want to bring up a little bit from the stats a year ago. The biggest thing to me was Texas ran the football well last year, except when they played Georgia. 29 rushing yards in the first game that was at home in Austin, with 30 rushing yards, 31, something like that in the SEC championship game, and they lost both of those. This season, what surprised me most is Texas doesn't really run the ball well. Is that going to continue to be another problem against Kirby Smart, who's clearly shown the ability to scheme up Steve Sarkisian?
Yeah, but we know how important the run game is. And to that point, again, you look at both of these offenses and how they operate. We know that Arch and Gunner are obviously involved in the run game, but I think one of the biggest differences for Georgia this season, Blaine, as opposed to really the last couple, and I think it's one of the reasons why Mike Bobo can really get in his bag, is Georgia can run the ball pretty well this year. Again, it's really seeming to starting to come on. It's not just Gunner Stockton in quarterback design runs where you have a hat in a hat or improvising, making a guy miss and move. Georgia is actually as balanced on offense this season as I can remember, and I think that's why we've seen them win in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby Smart and this Georgia team obviously want to run the ball, and that's the big matchup to me if you watch Georgia throughout the year, is going to be this running game from Georgia, matching up with this front 7 from Texas and Con Simmons and Anthony Hill Jr. I thought Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bones have come along really well. How healthy is Georgia up front? I know they have some young guys playing tackle. just know that everything gets set up when it comes to Georgia off the run game. I think you get Oscar Delp going. They want to push the ball down the field. They want to run the ball and give the tight ends the football. I think they're their best players and their best weapons other than Zachariah Branson. I'm trying to remember if we go back to last week, and this is the most Georgia thing ever. We were watching this game, and all of a sudden, I think Gunnar Stockton throws a fade ball to this thing in the corner.
Yeah, Elias
I
Williams,
haven't seen the entire year. Elias Williams, number 10, 6'7",
255.
250, true freshman. This is what you get with Georgia when you walk into week 11. If you see guys like this, and you haven't seen the entire year, they're just walking around on that campus. But I do think this is going to be a low-scoring football game.
Really?
I think it's going to be the most physical game of the weekend. You're going to go against a team who wants to run the football. And trust me, Steve Sarkisian wants to run the football as well, not only with his running backs, but with Arch Manning. That's going to set up the big explosive plays, which Texas has been pretty damn good all year at.
You guys have heard of the bearskin hoodie. Well, Blaine.
Well, have I heard?
Have you
It's become my skin.
Look, smart people are locking in their winter gear now, including my brother, because this is hands down the best time to prep for the coming winter, and for some of us, it's already here. It was snowing yesterday in Nashville, all right? But Bearskin's running a 60% off deal right now, but only if you get that hoodie early. That looks awesome, makes you feel awesome.
So good.
Plus, it zips right into the heavy storm rain jacket.
It really does.
100% waterproof. So when it turns cold, wet, and windy, you're not scrambling last minute. You're feeling amazing, like I did when I wore it over into Ireland, like Cone does when he's out on his grill and the weather may not be great, but he's still out there grilling and chilling with his awesome bearskin hoodie. So do yourself a favor. Text the word Crain to 36912 to lock in your 60% off. Again, text CRAIN to 36912. Flex on them, Blaine. They'll send a link straight to your phone so you can check it out later if you're busy right now. So don't wait until you're freezing to realize that your hoodie sucks and you made a terrible mistake. You can correct it. Get a bearskin now. 60% off. CRAIN 36912. Text that. You're welcome. Look, if you go back and watch the Vandy game for Texas, you know, their athletes in space really put Vandy in some bad situations. I mean, just go back to the first play. Ryan Wingo catches what was that, a bubble? Just a bubble
First
screen.
Play
play, makes two guys
75.
mistakes to the house. See, I disagree with you. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and I want to get into the Texas portion on offense of this too, because I think there's some advantages that Texas has with this Georgia team and this Georgia defense. But you know, Georgia was kind of playing a little bit of pop-a-shot with the offensive line, trying to mix different combinations to see what was going to work. But it really seems like the last couple games they have found a combination up front on the offensive line that has given them some continuity and is really starting to work. And they're young, especially on the outside. I mean, you look at guys like Freeling. He's going to be a star in this league for a while. Drew Bobo, Mike Bobo's son at center, is doing a really good job. So I think Georgia's figured out who they need to play where situationally on the offensive line, and I think that's helped them as well. But on the other side of the ball, Dave, the difference in this Georgia defense is not that they can't stop the run when you run it at them. They can do that. It's rushing the passer, to me, is the biggest difference. And if you give Arch time, and we've watched this evolve over the year with Wingo, with the pieces that they have on the outside, with what Sark can do formationally from a motion standpoint, being able to get guys picked, being able to get guys open, Arch can really drag you around if you give him time, and I think he's going to have some time in this game.
Well, all those great Georgia pass rushers are playing for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's exactly right.
You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's interesting when we talk about the Texas run game because that's an element that Arch Manning adds that Quinn Ewers really didn't, and yet they've regressed in that area, which shows you just how valuable it is to have a quarterback who can effectively push the football down the field to be able to open up a run game. But with that being said, I keep going back to the Oklahoma game for Texas. That is the template for me, for Texas to be able to not just beat Georgia on the road, but to beat Texas
second half. You're talking
to
second
keep
half
winning.
of that game?
Well, I'm talking about won the turnover battle, forced 3 interceptions, didn't turn the football over themselves. Okay, that's a great recipe. 2, ran the ball effectively, over 130 rushing yards, something like that, averaging 4 yards a carry. On the turnover point, that defense in 2 games against Georgia last year forced 5 turnovers. Man, that's pretty good, huh? Except you turned the football over 7 times in 2 games. Like, that's just not a good recipe. So, especially against a Georgia team that you said, hasn't lost to anyone but Alabama, and they run the football effectively. Now, another interesting thing here is Georgia has trailed in every SEC game this year except Kentucky.
Yeah, it's wild.
I think that's right. Every single one. Even Mississippi State jumped out to a 7-0 lead. They clearly have shown the ability in the second half. It doesn't matter what the score is. We are going to win the second half. We're going to not only make the halftime adjustments, but we are that boa constrictor gravity that's just going to just suffocate you towards the end of a game. How much does Texas need to get off to an early start? And even if they do that, what sort of lead is enough to be safe enough? I watched Vanderbilt storm back, score 21 in the fourth to get that thing close against Texas in a game that I thought was Arch Manning's best game at Texas. Is there any lead against Georgia that's safe enough in the second half?
Well, first off on the Georgia point of, them trailing so many times in these games, your first reaction is, man, that's what camaraderie they must have. What an ability to face adversity and be able to bounce back, whether that's on the road like we saw at Auburn or at home and turn around and go win. I can tell you right now, most Georgia fans are like, hey, cut that shit out. Like, stop doing that. Like, we can only play with fire so many times before we don't catch a couple breaks down the stretch or we're playing somebody that's personnel's close to ours. Imagine if Georgia put two halves together. They would be killing everybody. They'd be destroying everybody. But they have to show the ability to do that. And I think also, Blaine, one could argue that as this season has gone on, and I'm not saying either side of the ball is bad, but you can see Texas's offense starting to figure it out and get better. But the defense, even going back to the Kentucky game, and look, I'm bend but don't break is still not breaking. I get it. And it's about scoring points. And Texas gave up a ton of yards in between the 20s, but didn't give up a lot of points in that game to Kentucky. Mm-hmm. But you're getting Michael Taft back, I believe, this week. You're getting a couple guys off the injury list that are huge. I mean, Taft really orchestrates everything back there. He's not the most athletic guy back there, but he's like a conductor of the symphony. I don't have to play the damn, harp to be able to be the conductor. I just got to make sure I move my hands right at the right time.
It's kind of interesting you bring that up, and I have some numbers here. I don't know how much stats matter to y'all, but this is, if you look at both defenses this year, we kind of look back and see which team has the advantage from a scoring defense standpoint. Right now, it's Texas coming in and ranked 10th with Georgia ranked 29. Total defense, Texas ranked 24th, Georgia ranked 20th. Rushing defense, Texas right now is third in the nation. And Georgia's coming in at 18th. Yards per rush, Texas is second. Georgia is 17th. Passing defense, Texas coming in at 83rd. 83rd, which is not good. And you flip it on the other side, Georgia's ranked 47th. Yeah. Sack percentage, Texas 9th. Georgia is 130th.
See, that may be the most insane stat and I'd be different if you literally just max protected every single time against Georgia and just, tried to do these one-on-one combination routes or isolate somebody. But when you look at how athletic Georgia typically is, when you look at the ability of the big guys they have up front that can bend, that shocks me that the sack.
It's so weird to see a Georgia team. Look, at the end of the day, y'all have one loss. You're damn good.
Yeah.
But it's so weird to see a Georgia team not be able to get to the quarterback and not create turnovers.
Yeah.
Because that is Kirby Smart's MO. And from a turnover margin standpoint, they're 80th in the country. So you're looking at a Georgia team who's can't get to the quarterback, can't turn the ball over, and they're 10-1 and just keep finding ways to win. And what do you respond, really, if you're Texas on the other side? This is going to be a hell of a matchup. Look, I know when you come to the SEC, you can boil it down to one thing, really, is going to happen up front. And if this Georgia offensive line can show up ready to play and get this run game going, Georgia should feel a lot better about a lot of things.
It's officially November, and gift-giving season is looming like Zoran Mamdani over New Yorkers' wallets. Ooh, that was a good one. But you don't have to sweat it, because the Daily Wire shop's your go-to for conservative gifting. Get up to 30% off great gifts for the conservatives in your life, like merch from the Crain Company collection. Look at this hat. Look at that camo one in front of you. Please look at it now. The Leftist Tears tumbler. The collected poems of Donald J. Trump coffee table book. He's also a poet. I didn't know that. Hats, T-shirts, and hoodies, too.
Shot 36 on the golf course the other day.
Yeah, I know. He talks to dolphins. Go to dailywire.com/shop and take advantage of these early Black Friday deals and enjoy holiday anticipation stress-free. That's dailywire.com/shop. Get you one of these hats. You'll be better for it.
I'm bringing up the box score from Oklahoma, Texas here. Oklahoma sacked Arch Manning, and they can get after the passer, that Oklahoma defense. They sacked him one time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Texas got to John Mateer 5 times. Colin Simmons had 2.5 himself. So, yeah, to your point, I've seen when Texas gives Arch Manning time against a really good defense. This isn't the San Jose State game, that he's been able to play effectively and they've been able to win a big game. If you're Georgia on defense, I wonder, the game has been too fast for Arch Manning at times throughout the season. How much do you feel the need to bring pressure in order to get home to him? Or do you say, look, we're just going to bring 4, and even in scenarios where we don't get to him, let's see if we can make him make a mistake downfield?
Yeah, and, again, this is the one thing about I would love to be able to know the calls that Georgia was making and how they go about it on third down defensively, just to have the numbers to be able to look at the tendencies of what Georgia does. My gut would be this game being at home, which means the crowd's going to be loud as hell in between the hedges when Texas is on offense.
Yeah.
Early, I want to see if I can just get there with 4. Like it's almost like on the opposite side, an offense trying to just run the ball early to see if they can establish it. Like, hey, how are we running the ball against these guys? It's the same thing on defense. It's like, man, I would love to be able to just get there with 4, or at least affect the quarterback with 4, move him around, flush him where I want. I would love to be able to stop the run without having to run stunt or bring extra guys or try and slant into the run. Because you are at home, I always felt on the road, I would like to dial up the pressure a little bit more because they're not under as much pressure from a crowd noise standpoint and this, that, and the other. Early, now, that doesn't mean you don't ever pressure early. That doesn't mean you don't show pressure and back off or show pressure and bring it. With Arch, I'm really interested to see if Georgia does heat him up, how quick he can get rid of the ball, because I know that Schumann and Kirby are going to show him pressure early. Will they bring it or not? That's the question to me. But I would just never bring it early when I have the crowd on my side to see if my guys can play better than theirs, or maybe the offensive line's a step slow so I don't get caught with my pants down in the back end.
Yeah, well, right now you look at it, you wouldn't think Georgia would be able to get there with 4. I mean, with the way they've been pass rushing.
No, 100%. But it's a game by game thing. It's one of those
things, like, if you're Glenn Schumann and you're Kirby Smart, sometimes like you don't have to go get the fish. Just let the fish come to you. Do you just slowly set up traps throughout this game and try to trick Arch Manning? You can say what you want about Arch Manning. This is his first career start against Georgia, right? He's never seen...
Not Gunnar Stockton's against Texas.
True. He's never seen this Glenn Schumann or Kirby Smart defense, and I promise you, there will be built-in booby traps on this defense for what Glenn Schumann wants to do. He's going to show you something, and you're going to get something else. If it's me, I want to see how smart Arch Manning is. Like, look, I get it. You're a student driver right now, and you got Sark right next to you in the car telling you what to do. I understand that. But sooner or later, you're going to have to get in that thing by yourself, get your seat buckled, and make sure you know when to turn at the right time, if it's a right on red or whatever it is. If it's me, I'm not pressuring too much. I'm not doing too much. I want to see how much Arch Manning really knows what he's looking at.
And that's what they did last year in Athens in particular. Remember the corner interception they had? And that was against Quinn Ewers, who had a bunch of starts, right? Tricked him into some critical throws. How much are you guys swayed by the 4-game win streak with Texas? I mean, look, they started off 3-2, kind of had been written off. Arch Manning, all this hype, wasn't playing well. And now 2 losses with their back against the wall. They've reeled off 4 in a row. Are we headed to some critical upsets here from Texas for them to be in the college football playoff?
Well, I mean, what's crazy is we ran the ground ball out of Texas gets incredibly hot at the end of the year and wins out. I mean, you're looking at beating Georgia on the road. You're looking at beating top 10, top 5 team to some others. That would mean beating Texas A&M at home, top 5 team, top 3 team right now in the country. And then that would probably mean, if that were to happen, you would then be facing a top 3 ranked Alabama in the SEC championship. You could have 3 quote unquote top 6 wins heading it. Then where do you put them? Like that. So like you control your own destiny, but that's a tough destiny. That's like a final destination type destiny of you better see it crash before your ass gets on the roller coaster.
And I mean, you're talking about in that scenario the difference between 10-2, putting you in the conference championship game, possibly to face Alabama because one of your losses was out of conference, or maybe 8-4.
Yeah.
We have less than 2,000 Daily Wire lifetime memberships remaining because it turns out having all access benefits for life with no renewals is something everyone wants. So here are your options. You could buy one while they're still available, or you could win mine. That's right, my very own lifetime membership to give away, and we made it ridiculously easy to enter. Download the free Daily Wire Plus app in the App Store. Open it, tap follow under my picture, one of our pictures, and that's it. You're entered, and who knows? We could be calling you to give you our personal lifetime membership. But before any of that happens, you need to download the Daily Wire Plus app and follow me inside it now to enter to win. Don't be afraid. Come here. But then that's just life. That's life.
It's life
at this
in the
level.
SEC.
That's how it works. But are we? And it's funny in these games, and I always try and bring this up. We talk about the offense and the defense. We want to know in the comments, who do you like? Who do you think is going to win? Just go and give us your prediction in the comments. Give us a key to each one of these. But when you feel like the competition is close, and I would venture to say that y'all too, and everybody out there watching or listening would agree with me that the personnel level of both these teams is very high. It's not exactly equal, but it's pretty close when you look at the personnel and the roster that these guys have. We know how key field position is. We know how key the type of play calling on 4th and 2 from midfield early in the game. 4th and 1 on your own 35, but you feel good about going for it. Who's going to take the most chances early, but then the special teams aspect of this. Who can hit field goals and make field goals when they get the opportunity? Because I think points are points in this game. And I actually think a decent amount of points are going to be scored, which makes it even more important for you to be able to make the jump shots or the field goals when you kick them. But then kickoff, right? Kickoff return. Is Texas just going to fair catch all the kickoff returns because they're on the road? Mm-hmm. I feel like there is going to be a huge special teams play that swings this game in the first half. Whether that be a block punt, something like that, a punt return for a touchdown. In games like these, and especially when you have high level and deep rosters, you have really good players on special teams too.
Okay, so you're talking about special teams. You know why I love Kirby Smart so much and why I think he's the best coach in college football?
The run on, run off? Is that what you're about to talk about?
Yeah. Notre Dame last year. I mean, very rarely do you see Kirby Smart get out-coached in a situation. Notre Dame, in what was it, the semifinal?
I believe so.
Or to get to the semifinal? Runs the punt team off to run the offense back on to hard count. Georgia jumps off sides. Kirby Smart says, I like that, man. I think I'll try that. Does the same thing against Mississippi State, and it works. Gets them to jump off sides for a critical first down.
Yeah.
Well, everybody steals from everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we laugh at the Connor Stallions thing. Like, it's like, look, this is a copy. Every league is a copycat league. 100%. That's how it is.
And if you do that, I just hope the coaches know out there, like, you can sub. Right, in the Mississippi State game. You're talking about running the offense.
Have the punt team there running them off.
Jeff, don't got to panic, dog. You get the sub.
I'll sub you one at a time.
One at a time. Take your sweet time.
Oh, I'm taking my sweet ass
That's
time.
all you have to do.
See,
that's all you got to do.
They would hate me. I'd be like, look, every time they sub, boy,
walk off.
We gonna take our. You can't tell me to hurry up. No, y'all wanted to sub.
And then you get into delay a game territory.
That's what I'm saying. I would make you eat all your timeouts by the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. And by the 9-minute mark of the fourth quarter. Boy, we take our time. We get so much time. They'd be showing ads on the side of the screen it would take. Especially if I got a defensive lineman. Hey, big dog. Hey, just take your time. Yeah. No, I want to sub. I made a mistake. Let me resub them. I'm going to resub them. But, dude, I'm so pumped. It's gonna be
special teams ought to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It really is.
All right, well, anything else? I can't wait for this
one,
game. All right, in the comments, let us know what you think. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not. Turn that notification bell on. We appreciate you. And like the chances of us not being ready to actually react to the playoff reveal tonight, but also watch these fantastic games. We're going. Gone.